for Harold?
I would knock on every door on the Upper West Side. They love me up there. So, Senator,
Yes.
aren't you glad you're from Delaware instead of New York City?
Every day I get up and say, thank God I'm from Delaware.
Yeah.
I like New York, but I love Delaware.
The press is a little bit easier in Delaware. But so let's talk about this banking issue.
Sure.
Should the president go after the bank, or should he tax the bank?
Yeah, no, I think he should. I think, when you start seeing the bonuses, the amount of money that's rolled up, why would you not? And
they don't get it, do they?
Well, by the way, they don't. By the way, one of the things I spend a lot of time in Washington, but I've also spent a lot of time around finances, things like that. There's a bubble around everybody, and the bubble around New York right now is terrible. I know Harold wants to help New York and do it, but I'll tell you what, the biggest thing New York's got is just financial markets. And my whole thing, how I got started in this thing, is the credibility of our financial markets are absolutely key to the United States of America. And if they're key to the United States of America, they're 1,000 times more key to New York. You want to see jobs go out of New York? If people start losing faith in the fact they're getting a level deal on our
right. Start losing faith. Don't you think they have already?
Absolutely right. But the point is, we have got to staunch the bleeding. And there's a bunch of things we have to do. I think Mary Shapiro at the SEC is getting started. I think this meeting we had the other day, which was part of my legislation, to look into this thing, I think we got to get the financial regulatory forum. But there's a whole series of things went on. The thing I got started with was short selling. The fact that they took away the uptick rule when they changed a lot of the regulations. I get into that.
And everything just collapsed. It was an accelerating effect. So, Chris, Jeff, what do you think about the banker's tax?
What do I think?
Go ahead.
I personally, and the Financial Times thinks that it's a really good idea. But I was going to ask the senator, one of the arguments that we hear, which Harold was kind of edging into, was this notion that, New York might lose its preeminence as a financial center. Do you buy that?
By the way, if we don't do what we're doing, we will lose our preeminence, not just for the country.
So the tax is essential to keep banking healthy?
The tax is a piece of it. That's not the main thing I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the SEC get back in the regulating business. What we did for years is we just said laissez-faire, no regulation. You follow the whole thing. Right. We don't need any regulators. To me, that's like a football game. And you say, we're going to pull the referees off.
I agree with you, Senator Kaufman.
By the way, Senator Ford, a lot of bankers are now starting to say we need regulation. I like the sound of that.
There are two different issues here. The fee on the banks and what Senator Kaufman's talking about. I've been a supporter when I was in Congress, when I ran for the Senate, and continue to be. And I might add, Governor Granholm was just on. You didn't hear her picking on the car industry. And I think a New York senator is not supposed to be picking on the security. But I think the reform you're talking about, Senator, I'm with 100%.
I know, and it's key. But I mean, that is, we can talk about all these other things. But if we lose the two things that made America great was democracy and free and credible markets. If we screw up on free and credible markets, we won't have to worry about bankers' tax. We don't have to worry about bonuses. We don't have to worry else. And that's the second thing is.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Kaufman, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Presumptive Senator Ford, we appreciate your time as well.
And Harold, come on our radio.